Check, 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 check. If you thought I was done talking about Rosetta, think again, because I'm going to talk about it all week. In fact, I'm going to deliver to you some deck lists that I've been playing this past week. So if that's something that you want, sound off below with the hero that you want to see first. Acilio, Florian, Aurora, or Verdance. If you put Acilio, it counts for 2 because he's pretty cool. But today we're going to talk about the cards that have caught my eye the most, either via testing them, playing them in a limited capacity, or just because they're freaking gorgeous cards. That's what we're talking about today. So sit back, relax, chop some onions for dinner while you listen to this, while I regale you with the beauty of, not my voice, but these art cards. They are fantastic, and we're starting with none other than Sigil of Brilliance. Look, I picked this card as one of my favorite cards from this set, one because of that incredible looking art. Look, I'm a sucker for, sucker's not the right word, I very much enjoy the abstract background with a very bright graphic icon. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And these cards, not just Sigil of Brilliance, but all of them look so good. All the different sigils in these Marvel alt arts, I prefer them over the Chi double-sided kind of nature thing. This to me is like peak. Combine that with the fact that this card's super busted and exactly what Acilio needs to like do the thing, and you've got a recipe for success. Look, Acilio is one of those heroes that the more you play him, the more you figure out, the better he gets and the cooler he gets. And it comes off of the back of cards like Sigil of Brilliance, drawing you a card, figuring out when to play it at the right time. Do you play it at the end of your opponent's turn? Do you play it on your own turn so that you can get the extra amp from your staff from it? This is one of those cards that rewards you for becoming better with the deck by being powerful, specifically when you use it at the right moment. So I'm a huge fan of it. If you're a fan of it, let me know that as well. And I need 3 of those like yesterday, literally yesterday. Speaking of cards that are really good in Acilio, but in this case, good in all Lightning heroes, this card right here, Gone in a Flash, is a pretty good card. And for those that haven't been paying attention, Gone in a Flash has made a lot of headway, has made a lot of splashes. Flashes? Splashes. One of the two. Has made an impact, we'll say that, within the early days of testing these new heroes. Why? Well, because it can go back and forth, onto the board, back to your hand, onto the board, back to your hand, in crazy, crazy ways. And the cool thing about this card is that, again, just like the previous one, it rewards you for knowing how best to use it. It's not a card that's just broken in half based on its ability that you just get to play and immediately like get major value. You get value from this card if you've set up well for it and if you understand how it best functions, if you've built around it. And that to me is hallmark of a fun and good card. And to me, Gone in a Flash hits on every single like cylinder. I am a person as a player of games that really enjoys the like combo where you put the machine together and you get rewarded by firing it off and doing the thing. I love that. I love combo-oriented style decks and moments and like turn cycles, and this rewards players for setting up for a combo. So yeah, big fan of that one. Now, something completely different. Now for something completely different, we move to probably the coolest piece of equipment in this set. Arguably, I don't know, maybe Greaves is up there, but I'm a Lightning sucker, right? Team Lightning, let's go. But this right here is nuts. Face Purgatory is incredibly, exceedingly good for Runeblades. The fact that you now, as a Runeblade, have the ability to take cards away from your opponent on the defense side of things means so much for the class as a whole, but I also just love how this card functions from a design standpoint, because it's asking you to commit a piece of equipment and 2 cards from hand to recoup you a card from hand to take a card from your opponent's hand. And so you are losing a lot to do this effect, but you're gaining in the possibility of what you could draw into. So you, as a good player, could just be like, you know, I'm going to just put this out there and the card that I get is irrelevant. I'm just going to get recouped for some of my cost, right? That's like tier 1. I get to take a card from my opponent. I have to give up some things, and I could recoup the cost. But the deeper you go and the better as a player, tier 2 you get, you possibly look at this and you go, okay, well, here are my options for things that I could draw. What are the probabilities that I draw blue? Because a blue would make this hand go crazy. What are the probabilities that I draw red? Because if I draw this red, then I can block with the other red from my hand. And you can start calculating and getting benefits from being that kind of higher tier player, or at the very least, just thinking of it from a higher tier. Cards that do this encourage interaction and encourage player skill, reward player skill, which is why I think Face Purgatory is absolutely incredible. And I'll just put it this way, as incredible for a completely different reason. How does this not make anybody and everybody's list? Are you kidding me right now? Are you absolutely kidding me? The hidden secret Rosetta Thorn in the Art Deco style daggers into my freaking heart. I love this. This is so beautiful. This set is so fire. Are you kidding me right now with the just immaculate presentation? The composition of this is so wonderful. And the great part about this Rosetta Thorn being in there, even though it's not legal in Blitz, even though it's not legal in Classic Constructed, of course it is legal in Living Legend format, the beauty of this is that it tells a story as well. So if you know anything about the lore of, Candlehold, Flesh and Blood in general, Aria, is that the only person, the only being to leave Candlehold after its creation by the Queen was the wielder of the Rosetta Thorn herself, Briar. She's the only one that left. And so the outstretched hands kind of holding up this memento or this relic of the only person that ventured out before the passing of the Queen sort of brought everyone together and out, I think is a really great homage to both Tales of Aria as a set from a meta standpoint, and also the first person to venture forth and kind of buck the trend of this is what has always been done, this was the tradition of the land, and I'm going to step in a new direction. I think it's fantastic, and it's a great little hidden gem. But the set is not just like full of these types of beautiful cards. I already talked about Sigil of Brilliance, but huge shout out to Sigil of Conductivity. I now have 2 of these. I have opened one. I think someone traded one to me. I have 2 of these. That card combined with the other sigil where I think it's Sigil of Aether, this one right here, are gorgeous in person. This set's full of gorgeous cards. And it just makes my heart sing. To know that we get to open this set in a few days is incredible. And it brings around the conversation of the Fabled as well. It is a card that is beauty in and of itself, but is actually incredibly playable. Like when we look at this card, we think to ourselves, do I include that as a wizard? As any wizard. By the way, I believe that right there is like the gem that perhaps is powering or, contains the power inherent within Acilio. I'm pretty sure that's just Acilio's like Arcanite shard. I saw someone say that on Twitter and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I think as well. It looks like that's basically just Acilio's power source. So, which is really cool, but it's also very cool to know that this is playable in all wizards and it's considerable in all wizards. Like for example, Kano could run this if he chooses. He could just run the Eye of Ophidia if he chooses. He could run neither of them if he chooses. But the fact that you have access to this as any wizard to simply pitch and amp 1 on so many different levels makes this really, really playable. But the detriment is always there that you can't block. And wizards are a fairly good blocking class, so including a non-block card, just like including all of the potions in your deck, is always a consideration. And it is very real to draw into this and not be able to block lethal damage coming your way, or to hit this off the top as Kano and be like, yep, I'm just dead now. And so there's always the balance. I think this is peak Fabled design. I am a huge fan of this one. Now, there are a few more cards that I want to talk about on the playability side, and perhaps none more so than this one. The fact that this card exists now is kind of mind-boggling to me because of how powerful it actually is. You compare this to like what was the one from Part the Mistveil that pulled a card out of the opponent's hand if they blocked and it was like a blue card. Why am I blanking on the name of that card? Ah, crap, I can't remember it. Leave a comment down below. It is the Mystic Assassin card. I can't remember. It's attack reaction. This is just as cool. It's just as impactful. I would say even more so impactful because it can just pull anything. You get to look at their hand, just grab it, they discard it. This Succumb to Temptation is just bonkers. I'm surprised that there's not a like finer, higher art treatment than the one that we have on screen right now, because to be honest, I would think that this would be one of those extended art treatment style cards. It's that good, it's that impactful in the class itself. And in the same vein, this is a straight up common card, but Open the Floodgates literally allows Kano to continue to not thrive, but survive, maybe just survive in the meta. This card single-handedly replaces all the tomes that you were playing before in Kano, and it kind of just works. Like, it still works. I know there's a lot of players that are like, yeah, Kano's just dead on arrival in this new meta. I don't know. Maybe he is. There are better Kano players out there than me. I am not claiming to be a, top-tier Kano player. I just play and try to do my best and enjoy my time with the hero. But that card is good in Kano, especially if you include a bunch of them. Yes, it's expensive at 2, but on a Kano Wildfire turn, it basically does the job of a tome while including damage as well. And there were a lot of people that were really hyped about Overflow the Aetherwell, but to tell you the truth, I think Open the Floodgates just kind of outclasses it and completely changes the way that you go about playing as the hero. You can still play kind of like all out, just go, 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 but at the same time, you're much more rewarded to playing towards a Wildfire combo line with a bunch of these in your deck if you play out your potions, if you commit to a potion heavy deck. So if you want to see what I'm doing with Kano, leave a comment down below. Maybe I can show that deck list to you as well. I've been testing it, and honestly, it's been doing pretty well. And the final card that I want to talk about is an expansion slot card. No, it's not Betsy's expansion slot card. It is none other than Unsheathed. I think this card does so much for the warrior class in general, simply because it can splash into just about every warrior and just have a perfect little home. Obviously, it's got Kasai on the art. Everyone loves, well, maybe not everybody, I don't know. I love Kasai. Everyone loves Kasai. I'm just going to say it. And it fits perfectly in Kasai, but you can play it in like a bunch of different versions of like other heroes. You can play it in Dorinthia if you choose to. You can play it, and it fits okay in Dorinthia, especially if you've already earned a counter. Then it's just good. It's just real good. And it also functions incredibly well in Bolton if you're playing Sabres. Well, maybe not incredibly well. I don't know. I would have to talk to none other than Manor Podcast co-host, joint host. I don't know what you call Roger, but he would be the one to know, to ask. So maybe Roger, if he ever watches this channel, he can leave a comment down below on whether or not it fits nicely in Bolton. I think it does. If you're playing, I guess, either of them, because it would totally work for Raiden as well. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty good. It seems pretty good just in general. So you can splash this card in there to all of the lists and just have a nice, solid red block 3 that sends 3 go again without having to jump through any more hoops than that. This set does so much for a bunch of different heroes. Like, we haven't even talked about the absolute power that is the dust. No, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about Dust from the Fertile Fields. One day Dromai will return, and she'll need all the dust to be able to play her dragons, and it hurts me to my core, unless it's super cool and I'm just, missing it. But I'm not talking about that card. No, I'm just simply going back to round everything out and say that this set is looking incredible. It's looking beautiful, and it's looking really, really fun. It's very impactful to all the classes that I've seen, all the heroes. There's something to be gleaned from this set, and that to me is good TCG set design. When, even though it's a set centered around Runeblade and Wizard, you can still grasp at something, you can still gain something along the way. So let me know what you think about these cards, and what are some of your favorite cards? Sound it off in the comments below. And if you would be so kind to press the button and make the number go slightly higher, then you will become the 21717th person, 21,717th person to do so. And that's an honor only one person gets. So, I mean, that could be you. Okay, bye.